Great Pretender is about a Japanese con man who ends up getting conned by a Japanese con man to essentially trick the mafia in America to buy a bunch of candy. And then there's a few other arcs where they go on a bunch of other cons, all of which the main character has absolutely no say in and gets basically tricked into doing it pretty much every time, just because the French guy is just so bad at communication and really doesn't trust him, but still brings him in on the cons. My thing about Great Pretender is I didn't like it, and the longer I watched it, the less I liked it, and I could not wait for it to be over. Now, originally, I thought that my main issue would be that the characters weren't explored, but to the show's credit, it actually does explore basically all of the major characters. It gets into their backstory, gets into what makes them tick. The problem is that after they're explored and after we understand the characters and their motivations, I didn't come away liking any of them, which is my number one issue with Great Pretender, is I hate all of the characters. They are all just terrible. And I think what the show tries to do is, of the 4 arcs in the show, I think 4 or 5 arcs, they basically are a group of con artists that only go after objectively terrible people. Like the first set is like a group of mobsters, then the next one is like a Middle Eastern prince who's rigging flying games and may or may not have disabled a pilot and caused him to get put in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And then there's like an art swindler. And then the last one is like a Yakuza boss who killed the French guy's fiance and also just sells children in an auction. So they're all terrible people. They only go after terrible people, but that doesn't make the main characters good people. And what really gets me is the fact of how they treat the main character. He does start as a con man, but that is more a matter of circumstance because he can't get an honest job. He has always wanted an honest job. He keeps looking for an honest job. And then anytime he starts to get something under him, it's revealed that this is all just some great prank by the rest of the con artist cast. And they're all just getting him in on some next big heist. And so they keep doing this and they never tell him any information. They fake their own deaths multiple times, which is honestly kind of a funny aspect of this show, is that the characters keep faking their deaths to the point where even the character that died in the backstories are not actually dead. It's revealed it was all just some great con the entire time, which I mean funny in the worst way possible. They keep over relying on that, not to a point where it gets annoying, but to the point where the show clearly has no consequences. And it tries to have that aha moment where you realize that the characters of the heist were in control the entire time, except for the entire show tries to be like that. And over the course of 4 arcs, it ends up just feeling like the characters are, one, kind of terrible at their jobs because they vastly overcomplicate their plans. The amount of people that were required to make at least 2 of these jobs work, it was in the 30s and 40s. And like Benjamin Franklin said, 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. So the amount of people they have working on these jobs is fucking absurd for what they're trying to pull off. That no one at any point betrays them, absolutely ridiculous. The plans are so over the top and over involved and over complicated that I have trouble believing they would ever fucking work. And so the characters end up basically coming off as omniscient gods that automatically know what's going to happen in every situation and automatically succeed no matter what. They're literally untouchable. It makes there's no consequences to the show at all. Couple that with the fact that I can't fucking stand any of them. They're all goddamn asshole pieces of shit that just happen to be going off of after even worse people, and I end up not even rooting for the absolutely untouchable protagonists that never have any chance of failure in the first place. There is one legitimately good arc that I did enjoy just ever so briefly, and I think it might have been the shortest one, which is The Snow in London, which is about an art swindler who wanted to create a bunch of duplicate paintings with one of the main cast's fiance, and it caused the 2 of them to break up, and so he's in debt trying to rebuy those paintings, and so they get him on the con to take the guy down. And I have to say, I did enjoy that arc. I enjoyed the sort of relationship. They didn't get back together, and honestly that's okay because it sort of does leave the door open, but between the woman and her art forgery fiance, and it was a lot lower of stakes, I would say, compared to like the airplane thing or the multiple gangsters. But I feel like the story itself had more heart, and it was also interspersed with like flashbacks between the young couple when they were still together's past. So I did like the Snow in London arc, but I didn't like any of the other arcs. I hated all of the characters, and I was actively rooting against them, even though they were invincible and clearly never in any danger. Twitch and Discord in the description. I've been Sacrobolic, your envoy of hope. Bye-bye.